got things started a little too early. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Alright, how's everyone doing tonight? Tonight we are continuing our playthrough of Fate Stay Night Remastered, the Unlimited Blade Works route. Last we left off, we started with a dead end, and then we played through what we were supposed to, got the correct dialogue option, and now Shirou and Rin are paired up with Lancer and are about to storm Castor's base of operations. Hopefully it goes better than how it turned out in the bad end that we saw last time. So here we go. February 13th. Unlimited Blade Works. 14. Night Stay Night. Before that, there was just one more conversation. When they got out of the forest and day breaks. Okay, so I guess this isn't Shirou narrating. Before they head to the church, the girl tells them the fact that she kept hidden.
今のうちに言っておくけど、シローが返してくれたペンダントね。あれ、一つしかないものなの。
She doesn't say what that means, and he doesn't pursue it further. That is because that is an unnecessary matter when they are about to fight their biggest enemy, Castor. Only one pendant. The one that he found in her room and returned to her. The one that he picked up that night and put into his desk. Now is not the time to be pursuing that contradiction.
言っておかなくちゃいけないのはそれだけよ。シローが私の部屋で見つけたペンダントって、あーちゃんに返してもらったものなんだ。シロー、私はてっきりあいつが拾ってきてくれたものだと思ってたけど。
And yet she continues to elaborate on it further. The decisive battle is near. The roof of the tall church can be seen in the corner when looking up at the sky. Tosaka says she wants to confirm things one last time. Our roles are decided. Lancer will draw Archer and Saber away from Castor. We will use that opening to fight Castor. In response to Lancer sarcastically asking if we'd be able to defeat Castor.
まあね。私とキャスターを1対1にしてもらえれば、まず裏をかけると思う。
Tosaka replies with confidence. I don't know what she means by outwitting her. She wouldn't tell us even if we asked, so it must be a strategy that has a lower success rate if she tells her allies. Then all I need to do is fulfill Tosaka's demands. I will keep Kuzuki from protecting Castor no matter what. I'll project his swords however many times is necessary to do that. I close my eyes and dive inside myself. The magic circuit that flows inside me is stable. Magecraft beyond one's capability will destroy the user themselves. The first time, half of my body went numb. The second time's projection was surprisingly easy and had no effect on my body. There's no guarantee that the third time will be the same, but I think there should be no problem if it's just copying his swords. My body is stable. Through sheer awareness alone, I have access to the magic circuits that were so difficult to create before. It's like there's a fake nerve behind my normal nerve, and I'm able to reverse them with just the press of a button. There's a part of me that wants to believe it's because I got used to it. I can easily prepare the swords. Projection has become my primary weapon. It's improved greatly compared to 10 days ago. Not only has the control of my magic circuits improved, but even my sword technique has improved. The reason behind it. I stopped myself from thinking about that reason. It's top priority to defeat Castor and get Saber back. Asking myself stupid questions can come after the battle. My headache gets worse the closer I get to the church. It's just like when I was looking for Tosaka, but I stopped thinking about it. The sunrise is gray. The sunlight blocked by the clouds, sealing the dawn's brightness. The sky above is cloudy. The sky is closer to black than gray and reminds me of that time 10 years ago. Is it going to start raining soon? A dull white sky. That man was standing under the cloudy sky that smelled like it had just stopped raining.
君のことだ。必ず来ると思っていた。
He stares at Tosaka with cool eyes. Tosaka doesn't say anything and stares back at Archer.
それで、用意した策は何だ？何の手立てもなしで勝負を挑む君ではあるまい。
ああ、とりあえず、てめえの相手はこの俺だ。
驚いたな。私を失い、数日と経たずに新しいサーバントと契約したんだ。やれやれ。私もそうだが、君の移り気もなかなかのものだ。これは、たもとを分かって正解だったかな。
構わないわ、シロ。あいつの挑発になんか乗らないで。
She stops, still staring at Archer. But it's obvious looking at her face. Even if she knows he's provoking her, it doesn't change the fact that those words hurt for Tosaka.
前から気に食わねえ野郎だと思っていたが、てめえ、少年から腐っているようだな。
ほう、裏切りは勘に触るか、ランサー。自分が裏切られたわけでもないのに、律儀なことだ。
別にお嬢ちゃんに肩入れする気はねえよ。単にてめえみたいなサーバントがいるってことが気に食わねえだけだ。
英雄の誇りか。まったく、どいつもこいつも同じようなことばかりを口にする。あのキャスターでさえそんなくだらないものを持っていてな。死した身でいますが、何の栄誉を守るというのだ。
Sounds like a very Kiritsurugu thing to say.
正直、私には君たちの考えが理解できね
え。ああ、しなくていいぜ。考える手間を省いてやる。
The conversation ceases between the two of them. All that's left is Lancer's sharp intent to kill, and Archer's calm intent to kill. They're about 10 meters apart. The knight in red and the knight in blue confronting each other is like a reenactment of that night.
ランサー
Tosaka calls to the blue bat.
お前たちは中に行け。こいつをぶっ倒したら俺も行ってやるからよ。
分かってる。けどランサー、アーチャーは。
ああ、手抜いてやる。あいつには土下座してお前に謝ってもらわなくちゃいけねえからな。
Without looking back, he smiles while still staring at Archer.
ありがとう。助力に来てくれたのがあなたでよかった。
We go around the two and run to the church. Archer, the guard, casually lets us go through. No, he had to let us go through. Archer is already confronting Lancer. If he gave us attention in such a situation, he would get stabbed in the chest by Lancer the next moment. Either he doesn't let us go but gets attacked by Lancer, or he lets us go but confronts Lancer. If he's really guarding this place, the choice should be obvious. We run around the courtyard and open the door to the church without hesitation. Behind us,
まったく面倒なことになっちまったな。
何がだ、ランサー。
いや何、あんな顔で礼を言われた日には手抜きもできねえ。そういうの困るだろ。おいそれと主を裏切れない身としちゃ少しばかり眩しいってもんだ。
knowing what we know of your master, you really should.
随分と甘いのだな、ランサー。君は隣の芝生は青いという言葉を知っているか。
何言ってやがる。 なもん俺が知ってるわけねえだろうが。
Why would I go stepping in somebody else's grass?
悠長にやってる時間はないわ。ランサーがアーチャーと決着をつける前にキャスターを倒すわよ。
But just a moment. Can we appreciate that we can walk into this church without organ music playing? Just for a minute? Okay. I know. We shouldn't waste our breath. So, are you sure I can leave Castor to you? Are you sure I can leave Castor to you, Tosaka?
ええ。とことんまで追い詰められるだろうけど、それでも手は出さないで。シローは久月先生をできるだけ引き離してくれればいい。
We go past the chapel and head to the door leading to the courtyard. I won't hesitate if Tosaka says so. Most of all, I don't know if I could back Tosaka up even if she were in trouble. My opponent is Kuzuki. I wouldn't even be able to dodge his first attack if I'm paying attention to Tosaka. Castor's presence is getting closer. She must not even be hiding her powers, and the church is surrounded by Castor's magical energy. With this amount, she must already know about our raid. Trace on. I knit together the illusion and as carefully as I can using the 8 steps. I got used to it, and his swords are in both hands within a minute. Ugh. I feel a light headache. Even though I'm getting used to it, it takes some sort of toll on my body after all. Projection is certainly affecting my body without me realizing it. Is it my imagination? For a moment, I thought Tosaka had hung her head in sorrow while running next to me. We go down through the darkness. We run down the stairs that go underground and go out to the open area. And after that, we jump off of the railing onto the stairs down to the sanctuary like before.
あら、飛び降りてくるなんてまるで猿ね。何を急いでいるのだか知らないけど、人間なんだから階段ぐらいは使いなさい。
We land in the sanctuary. This is supposed to be a surprise attack, but Castor greets us with composure. There is Soichiro Kuzuki standing beside Castor. I feel no enmity or bloodlust from him. That is his battle posture. His clear murderous intent is even hiding the dreadfulness of that man. In that regard, he's even more like an assassin than the servant assassin right now. Saber is at the altar. The situation is the same as 2 days ago. Saber's still tied from the ceiling with her head hanging down. I'm relieved we made it, but at the same time, it worries me how awfully quiet she is. I feel like Saber was a bit more in pain before. She was shaking slightly, as if breathing with her whole body to go against Castor's magical energy. But she's silent now, like she's frozen. I have a bad feeling. It's good Assassin is not here, but we won't be able to get out of here alive if my worries are true.
来たわよ、キャスター。いろいろ考えたんだけど、やっぱりあなたには消えてもらうことにしたわ。目障りだし邪魔だし煩わしいし、何よりその格好が気に食わないのよね。今時紫のローブなんてどこの田舎者よって感じでさ。
Tosaka insults Castor, who is full of composure, as if refusing to lose against her. Even though she's saying such things, she must actually be feeling the opposite from the way she's slowly closing in on her. So does that mean you like the way she dresses? Now's not the time for me to be concerned about Saber either. If Tosaka is going to close in on Castor counterclockwise, I'll close in clockwise. Castor and Kuzuki. If we're going to separate them, we have to attack them from both sides and isolate our enemies.
見逃してもらった分際で随分と勘違いをしたようね。今時の魔術師は皆こうイノシシ頭なのかしら。これではアーチャーが見限るのも当然ね。
Tosaka's insults must have worked on her, as Castor is glaring only at Tosaka. I used that opening to move. I moved to the other side of Tosaka, where I can attack Castor from the other side. Kuzuki watches that in silence. I knew it. There's no way that man won't notice something like this. He's aware of everything. The fact that we're trying to defeat them one by one, and the fact that Tosaka has some kind of plan. Even with that in mind, Kuzuki is letting Castor do as she wishes. It's not like Kuzuki is being manipulated by Castor. He became Castor's master of his own free will. But still, based on his passivity, Kuzuki is close to a puppet. A servant who is skilled in providing backup using magecraft, and a master who is skilled in hand-to-hand combat. Their roles are reversed, and I feel like their way of being... Their roles are reversed, and I feel like their way of being reversed as well. And I feel like their way of being is reversed as well. Castor who persistently seeks the Holy Grail, and the master protects Castor without his own will. That makes me think without a reason that if Castor was a master and Kuzuki was just a servant who protected her, then they wouldn't have fallen so low. Actually, Kuzuki as a pseudo-servant in FGO might be interesting. I mean, how many other options do we have left at this point? Yeah, give Kuzuki like some master martial artist that's lesser known enough to not be able to be summoned normally on their own. Tosaka looks over at me. It means our positions are perfect. Then the match will be settled if either of us attacks. Whether Tosaka and I get defeated or Tosaka defeats Castor before that, our battle with Castor will end here.
それじゃあ始めましょうか。あなたとの小競り合いもこれで3度目。いい加減ここで型をつけてあげる。
Tosaka steps in closer to Castor.
大きく出たわね。まさかとは思うけど、本気で私に勝てると思っているの？お嬢さん。だとしたら腕比べどころの話じゃないわ。今回も見逃してあげるから、まずその性根を直してらっしゃいな。
そんなの勝てるに決まってるじゃない。だってそうでしょ？あなたみたいな三流魔術師に一流である私が負けるはずないんだもの。
Talking real big, Tosaka.
そう。なら仕方がないわ。
You're treating her like a 3-star. You shouldn't be treating her like a 3-star. Oh, wait, she is a 3-star. Why is she a 3-star?
その増長、厳しくしつける必要があるよね、お嬢さん。
Better yet, why is the younger version of her a 4-star? They brace themselves at the same time. With a few meters between them, they look like mirror images. That is the signal. I attack the defenseless Castor. And of course, I'm blocked by Kuzuki's blow. The ghost-like assassin is in front of me. I don't have the composure to watch over Tosaka and Castor's fight. He already knows my intentions. He will not let me buy time. Letting out the snake that cornered even Saber, Soichiro Kuzuki comes to take my life. I can hold him off for 1 minute at most. That should be the same for Tosaka. Originally, this was a battle with no chance of victory had the roles not been reversed. There's no way we could win against enemies who surpass us in both hand-to-hand combat and magecraft. But looking at it the other way, we can at least put up a fight. Tosaka would be killed in an instant if she fought Kuzuki, and Castor would end me just by pointing at me if I fought her. On the other hand, we might not be able to win, but at least we won't be killed in an instant. In other words, this battle is not about how we can defeat them, but a battle like walking on a tightrope to see how long we can hold off an opponent who is superior to us. Okay, so what's the victory condition then if the only goal is to see how long you can last? Interlude 14-1 Unlimited Blade Works. The lethal weapons cross. The twin swords and the spear repeatedly attack, trying to take each other's necks. Those attacks are continuous, without hesitation. Every blow that is released is meant to kill. Lancer is not an exception. Even though he told Rin, his ally, that he would take it easy, that becomes secondary once the battle starts. It merely means that if his spear happens to miss Archer's heart and does not kill him instantly, then he won't finish him off. Even in that case, his enemy will die, but Lancer would just need to drag Archer to Rin before he does. Lancer does not care what happens after that. You said to bring him alive, you didn't say for how long. The crimson demonic spear evades the enemy's territory. The spear breaks through Archer's defenses each time it is thrust. It is different from the battle from before. Archer cannot handle Lancer's attacks that he was able to dodge that night. It is only natural. This is the second battle. Lancer was bound by a certain command spell. To learn his enemy master's strength, his master told Lancer.
お前は全員と戦い。だが倒すな。一度目の相手からは必ず生還しろ。
That is the only command he was given. He obeyed such a ridiculous command, and his no-holds-barred battle finally come. Therefore, there is no way that it is the same as the last battle. There's nothing binding Lancer, and Archer is now fighting the fastest heroic spirit out of all the servants. Anguish escapes from Archer for a second time. Even his hawk-like eyes cannot follow Lancer's spear. The spear's trajectory is no more than a point to start with. That was changing into a flash of light now. He cannot see the tip of the spear closing in on him. Even the movements of Lancer's arms and legs are speeding up to reach a realm that is no longer visible. He was able to dodge this much better because he knew Lancer's spear from the last battle. He is doing what he can now, using the fact that he is inferior to Lancer when it comes to hand-to-hand combat as a weapon to handle his fierce attacks. Type and class advantage! He is adjusting where he gets attacked. The knight in a red cloak limits the attacks by creating fatal openings himself. Of course, he will die if he does not dodge these attacks. But if he is going to die getting wounds all over his body from trying to avoid an instant death, he'd rather die an instant death with all limbs intact. Otherwise, it will all have been for nothing. Fortunately, Lancer is still underestimating Archer. No, he is simply immersed in the battle itself. If they are going to keep on killing each other with just a difference in ability, then he can think of another 30 ways of showing openings. Predicting the enemy's movements using information gained previously, and breaking the status quo from cultivated battle experience. That is the mind of steel called the mind's eye that is gained from training. This is nothing deemed as extraordinary. This is the only skill that he possesses. It is not innate like Saber's instinct, but it is a simple weapon that anyone can gain from training in a frank manner. Lancer withdraws his spear and stops for a bit. He observes the disgruntled bowman in red. It is obvious who is going to win. Archer has no chance of victory at hand-to-hand combat. That is something he knew. If Archer is a bowman like his name states, this cannot be a fair fight unless he is shooting from a distance. But he blocked the attacks. He has been at an advantage and should not last a few more blows, but he blocked my full-force attacks. Is he strong or am I going easy on him? I sneer. Archer is a mysterious servant. I should admit that he's strong in that regard, but it's unthinkable that I'm going easy. The first attack was aimed at the neck to blow his face off. The second attack was aimed at the heart to smash his ribcage. There's no way I'm going easy on him. There's no way, but it's certainly true that I wasn't trying to kill him. What is there in a serious battle? A battle between servants comes down to a battle of noble phantasms. The fact that I'm cornering him without using that fatal attack is proof that I'm going easy. that reason, the cause seems to be the expression of gratitude that he had never heard before.
チェまったく本気か俺は。
So Ku's narrating this? The swords clash harder than before. Both parties spring apart with sparks that fly. Lancer's full force blow, as if he's about to hit himself, is offset by Archer's full force attack. The distance between them is about 5 meters. Okay, so is it neutral again? With that distance, Lancer would be able to close in an instant.
下せんな。
The spearman in blue murmurs.
貴様、これだけの腕を持っていながらキャスターについたのか。貴様とリンならば、キャスターになぞ遅れは取るまい。
Lancer stops admitting murderous intent, but there is no opening in his stance. After that, Archer slightly smiles.
驚いたな。何を言い出すかと思えば、まだそんなことを口にするのか。ランサー、私は少しでも勝算の高い手段を取っただけだ。リンがどう思うと、私はこれ以外の手段はないと判断した。
His voice, full of confidence, has no sense of guilt. The knight in red actually did not regret betraying his master.
そうかよ。尋ねた俺がバカだったぜ。
Archer agrees. I like the reflection of red that's going on in his shoulder armor. Lancer snorts and quietly raises the tip of his spear.
確かにお前は戦上手だ。そのお前が取った手段ならば、せいぜいうまく立ち回るだろう。だが、それは王道ではない。貴様の剣には、決定的に誇りが欠けている。
His fighting spirit rises. Seeing that, the bowman in red smiles in delight.
ああ、あいにく誇りなどない身だからな。だが、それがどうした？英雄としての名が汚れる？笑わせないでくれよ、ランサー。汚れなど、成果で洗い流せる。そんな余分なプライドはな、底いらの犬にでも食わせてしまえ。
It was at this moment he knew he messed up. In an instant, the slightly relaxed atmosphere completely changes. The air freezes. The demonic spear, with the magical energy to disrupt the order of the world and invert cause and effect, is raised. The murderous intent that is released is nothing like before. In the midst of the tension where it is difficult to even breathe.
犬と言ったな、アーチャー。
The spearman in blue bellows with a voice that could drive crows away from the battlefield.
事実だ、空風林。英雄の誇りなぞ持っているのなら、今のうちに捨てておけ。
よく言った。ならば、お前が先に行け。
Lancer jumps back greatly. It is not the matter of distance to thrust his spear. The distance that opened between them is in an instant is over 100 meters. Lancer leaps back to the entrance of this clearing and crouches on all fours like a beast. Archer's 5 senses freeze. Is it fear or awe? Whichever it is, he immediately understood. The meaning of Lancer's retreat. The fact that his enemy's next attack is literally a fatal attack.
俺のゲイボルクの能力は効いているな、アーチャー。
Lancer, crouching on the ground on all fours, raises his waist. His form is like a sprinter waiting for the starting pistol. Archer does not have the time to answer. The knight in red throws away his swords and immerses himself in his own mind as fast as possible. But will he make it? The Lancer's posture. If his demonic spear is like the legend, the noble phantasm that blocks it cannot be superficial.
行くぞ。この一撃。手向けとして受け取るがいい。
The blue panther runs. Even his afterimage is far away. Lancer sprints towards Archer like the wind. The distance between both parties is 100 meters, which was the same as the starting position. Lancer's not going to thrust his spear with that running start. The blue figure crouches. The spearman that ran through 50 meters in an instant suddenly leaps up from the ground. His body flies through the air. He holds up the magical spear that always pierces the heart once it is thrust. Space distorts, according to the legend. That spear scattered numerous arrowheads once it is thrust into the enemy. In other words, and that's why the NP attack looks the way it does in the Extella games, I guess. The spear of causality responds to the words. The spearman in blue leans back as if drawing a bow. And he slams down that blow with a roar. It is a noble phantasm that was made to be thrown. The spear that always pierces the heart once it is aimed. The cursed noble phantasm that cannot be avoided and will continue attacking the target every time it is avoided. That is Gable, the spear of destruction possessed by the hero who never lost once in his lifetime. There is no way to stop the thing that is shot out with all of Lancer's magical energy. It cannot be avoided nor dodged. Therefore, it is fatal. There is no way for one to survive once they are targeted by the magical spear. The magical bullet approaches. In a split second, the knight in red closes his eyes as if accepting his death.
I am the bone of my soul.
The thorn of light clashes. The moment the thorn of destruction comes falling from the sky to directly hit the knight in red.
No. Ah, yes!
The true name is spoken, shaking the air. The spear and shield crash. The spear of death, which breaks through every projectile and protective weapon. The spear of death, which breaks through every protective wall and evasion. That spear is stopped. The fatal spear is stopped by Archer's noble phantasm, swirling up a storm of wind and scattering debris. The 7 flower petals that appeared from somewhere protect Archer and oppose the magical bullet that tries to shoot him down. Who would know? This protection itself is ice. The only thing said to have stopped the javelin of the great hero is the shield of Aias. There are 7 barriers shaped like flower petals, and each layer is as strong as a castle wall. It is a bounded field noble phantasm that is invincible against any projectile weapon targeted towards the user. A thrown spear would surely be defeated by the shield without penetrating even one of the petals. At the very least, Archer does not know of any spear that can break through this shield. And yet, that fatal spear breaks through it effortlessly. The 6th flower petal is destroyed. Only one remains. The magical spear reaches the 7th petal that has never been pierced through and doesn't stop its force. The unstoppable thorn of the magical spear, with that right in front of him. With a roaring spirit, Archer pours all of his magical energy into his own noble phantasm. Lancer, who has landed on the ground, stares at the servant in front of him. Archer has wounds all over his body. His stretched out arm is like a decaying branch. His face is distorted in pain, not only from the wounds on his arm, but from enduring a headache beyond his imagination.
驚いたな。 アイアスを貫通しうる槍がこの世にあろうとは。君のそれはオリジナルのグングニルを上回っている。
The knight in red compliments the spearman in blue from the bottom of his heart. There is no way such a thing would get through to Lancer. His strongest attack, the attack that made him a hero, was blocked. He is so angry that his glare should be able to kill someone. But that anger is almost erased by a strong wonder. It is too strange. It is true that Archer is a mysterious servant. His identity is unknown. He carries twin swords while being a bowman, and even showed a shield that could block Lancer's strongest attack. That is abnormal. Such a hero cannot be found anywhere in this world.
貴様。
ただの旧兵だが、君の見立ては間違いではない。
ざれ言を。旧兵が宝具を防ぐほどの盾を持つものか。
場合によっては持つだろう。だがそれもこのざまだ。魔力の大部分を消費したというのに、腕をやられアイアスも完全に破壊された。まったく私が持ちうる最強の守りだったのだがな、今のは。
Lancer keeps glaring at Archer, who is banter. Then,
それより気づいたかランサー。キャスターめ、存外に苦戦していると見える。こちらに向けられていた監視が止まった。
Archer adds, raising his arms as if to surrender.
そうかよ。そうじゃねえかとは思ったけどな。てめえ。
無論だ。言っただろう。勝率の高い手段だけを取る
と。とことん気に食わねえ野郎だな、てめえ。
I'm sure you guys would actually get along great. Lancer says bitterly and turns his back to Archer. His job is done. His role to distract Archer is meaningless now. There's no need for him to support Rin Tosaka any longer. The spearman in blue turns on one heel to return to his master and lays on the grass to observe some more. Because we all know who his master is, and forget that guy. Ugh. I desperately parry the constant flurry of fists. Kuzuki's fists are live snakes. Even if I barely dodge them, they change their course of direction to come bite me the moment I avoid them. That's how Saber got seriously injured. Saber was grazed by Kuzuki's snake because she had the reflexes to dodge it. But I don't have such reflexes. I can't dodge them, and first of all, I can't even see his fists. I can't see them, so it's impossible to even dodge them. My shoulder. Kuzuki's fist grazes my left collarbone. Ah! It's like a sledgehammer. It feels as if my left shoulder is shattered and I almost dropped my dagger. I stop and bear, repelling the repeated fist aiming toward my face with the dagger in my right hand. What about the sword? Why do you have a dagger now? I desperately retreat. I retreat without regard for my appearance, while Kuzuki closes in without revealing how he's advanced. I won't be able to withstand the next attack. It's absurd that I was able to parry all of his attacks until now. It doesn't feel real. My misunderstanding of being able to manage with just defense and being a decoy until Tosaka defeats Caster shattered from the first blow. Soichiro Kuzuki took our previous battle in account. Before, I was able to fend off Kuzuki, who attacked Tosaka. So I thought I'd be able to block his attacks if I projected Archer's twin swords. But, on the other hand, that means I can't do anything without Archer's swords. Kuzuki took that into consideration. This time, the first thing that Kuzuki did was try to take my twin swords. Try to take away my twin swords. My right dagger shatters. His fist strength of my caster's magecraft destroys my swords with just a few blows. Trace on! I immediately replace the dagger. I can't expect high quality from a forced projection and quickly made swords. As a result, the twin swords that have received several attacks lose their accuracy. I can't control my breathing. I frantically block Kuzuki's snake with my twin swords. My body just follows the twin swords. My limbs that copy Archer's movements have far exceeded the limits of my body. And then there's this headache. My body erodes every time my twin swords are destroyed and I project new ones. It's different from using up magical energy. It feels like I lose one of my few magic circuits I have every time I make a new sword. I'm almost out. I might be able to make 2 more. It's over when my magical energy runs out. But first of all, would I even be able to make 2 more? Huh? I'm in the air. Kuzuki's right fist. The fist he hadn't been using was thrust like a spear. I parried the blow that tried to pierce through my chest and ribcage with my twin swords. In an instant, my twin swords are destroyed, and it seems like I was flung away from the impact. I feel something hard against my back. I must have been flung about 5 meters. I try to resume my breathing and realize I can't breathe. The penetrating impact is numbing my heart. I can't breathe, and I can't even move my limbs. Just for a few seconds. During that gap of my heart resuming to work. The devil approaches. This is it. This man would finish me off if I dropped my guard for only a second. Be like this, it would be more than enough time to kill me 6 times. I glare at my enemy. Even if my limbs don't move, there's still things I can do. I'm not one who wields swords to start with. My weapon that I fight with has always been magecraft. Then, it's not over yet. My role is to hold Kuzuki down. I can't give up without fulfilling my role. Huh? That hitting sound didn't come from in front of me. The structure of the sword that I was imagining disappears. Kuzuki, who was approaching to twist off my neck, stops. That abnormality was behind Kuzuki. It happened to cast her with the altar behind her. Interlude 14-2 Unlimited Blade Works. Tosuka's also at a disadvantage. No, the burner is greater than mine since she clearly understands the difference in their powers. Caster points her fingers towards her, full of composure. The magecraft is arrow. Caster has no need for incantations. To the witch that lived in the Age of Gods, she does not need a process to connect herself to the world. Caster is always surrounded by the divine mysteries that make the world go round. For her, magecraft is just something she commands. It is just like ordering a guard dog to attack. Counters that with her treasure jewels. She does not have the time to cast a spell, and she cannot match Caster's magecraft with simple spells. Their skills as a mage are as far apart as heaven and earth. To bridge that gap, she can only bring out the thing that she had been accumulating for a long time. The crystallization of magical energy that she has stored since she was born as the daughter of a mage. She faces the challenge of preparing to use the remaining 9 out of 10 irreplaceable jewels.
けなげに頑張ること。そんな奥の手があるとは思わなかったわ、お嬢さん。
Caster keeps her smile, even though her magecraft is being nullified by pure magical energy. Caster, who can exercise magecraft almost infinitely, and the girl who opposes her using jewels as amplifiers. That difference is obvious. I do not know how many jewels she has, but it should be around 10 or 20. There's no way she can defeat Caster with that amount. neutralizes the electric charge with the 7th jewel. There's 6 jewels left. With 6 more spells from Caster, her trump card will run out.
あら、綺麗に防ぎきるのね。本当にけなげ。自分だけ守っていれば石を使い切ることもないでしょうに。
Without reacting to the giggling voice, she readies the jewels between her fingers in preparation for the next bullet. Just as Caster says, her jewels would not shatter if she were just protecting herself. Each jewel should be able to block Caster's spells about 3 times. But she couldn't do that. Caster's Magecraft covers the sanctuary once it's activated. Kuzuki should be protected by Caster, but he's an exception. If she does not counter Caster's Magecraft before it is activated, then Shirou Emiya, who is keeping Soichiro Kuzuki busy, will burn and die. Therefore, it's meaningless if she protects only herself. She can't let him die like that, and the premise of the strategy is that he stops Kuzuki.
まだ守りきるつもり？大した信念ですけど、それもいつまで持つかしらね。受けてばかりでは結果は見えていてよ、お嬢さん。
Caster's fingers move.
ゼクサイフルスアインハルト。
So, I'm guessing it's the neutral voice. It sounded like Shirou was still kind of narrating earlier, but now it sounds like the omniscient third person. In response to that, she makes the first move. Her jewels will run out and she will be killed if she keeps on defending. Caster's Magecraft and her jewels. If the magical energy contained within this is the same, then it means she can beat Caster if she makes the first move. But she cannot surpass Caster's spells. If Rin Tosaka is the fastest without using spells and can establish Magecraft just by releasing jewels, Caster is also the fastest that she can create divine mysteries with just one phrase. There is no first move in their battle. This is just a clash of power against power. The first one to lose from the clash and run out of magical energy loses. Then... Where did you learn to count? She just needs to force her way through. She uses her jewels one after another and brings the Caster's magical energy. There are 3 jewels released. Additionally, she uses her treasure 4th jewel to add a synergistic effect. That Magecraft is beyond her limits. You cannot use Magecraft surpassing your own tolerance. She herself told him that is breaking the rule to unleash this attack. The attack would destroy not only the sanctuary, but the entire church had Caster not defended against it. But the witch in purple blocks it like it is nothing. No, it wasn't just that. Caster had swallowed all of her magical energy into her robe. Tosaka stands there in astonishment. Behind her, she can hear the sound of his defeat. The sound of breaking swords and his body slamming against the wall. The match is about to be settled. There's nothing she can do, and her body sways. She staggers forward as if defeated by inescapable despair.
あら、これで終わり？まだ手持ちの宝石はあるのでしょ？諦めずになくなるまで試してみたら？
She has no energy to answer. Regardless of how many jewels she has left, this was the best she could do. If that didn't work, not even 100 jewels would be enough to hurt Caster with her Magecraft.
そう。ようやく理解したようね。何をしようが私にはかなわないと。けれど楽しくはあったわ、お嬢さん。魔術、それだけでもあなたに価値を与えましょう。
She stops herself from falling forward, suppresses her nausea with her hand, and keeps glaring at Caster.
悔しい？けれどこれが現実よ。むしろ誇りなさい。 遊んであげたとはいえ、あなたはこの私に魔術戦をさせたのだから。
Then Castor points at her, as if to pronounce her death sentence.
消えなさい。あの坊やが私のマスターに倒されるのは時間の問題。その前に、こちらもそろそろ終わりにしましょう。
Castor slowly murmurs her death. That opening. She had been waiting for that judgment.
シュトラク、クローススパイ。
She only needs one phrase to release the spell. She hangs her head and smiles as she murmurs. Interlude out. Huh? I doubt my own eyes for a moment. Tosaka and Castor. Their battle of Magecraft ended with Tosaka's defeat. Tosaka slowly staggered forward as if asking for Castor's forgiveness, and Castor released Magecraft to finish her off. That moment, Tosaka counters with released Magecraft. It's fine. That's not surprising. The problem is after that, Tosaka punches Castor with a fired-up stance. Tosaka throws herself into the fire. She counters the released Magecraft and, using it as a distraction, she jumps onto Castor. Castor's surprise is that of a mage. He could not have predicted that the mage that lost in Magecraft would come punching at her. I didn't expect it either, so it must be like blasphemy for Castor, who is an excellent mage. That isn't just a useless struggle. Tosaka closes in and lands a 1-inch punch, a Chinese martial arts move on Castor's chest. Everybody's kung fu fighting. A shattering sound. Tosaka must have strengthened her fist like Kuzuki, as her blow easily breaks through Castor's defense.
魔術師のくせに殴り合いなんて。
ホワイ肉様、今時の魔術師ってのは護身術も必修科目よ。
I'm honestly fascinated by her coordination. Tosaka drops to the ground right after the 1-inch punch. Putting both hands on the ground, she crouches down to Castor's knees. To Castor, who has no hand-to-hand combat knowledge, it must look like Tosaka disappeared. Then she executes a foot sweep. The most powerful move in Mortal Kombat. Her kick using her entire body is explosive, as if trying to kick off Castor's legs. Castor's feet are swept beneath her and lands on her back. Go for the Yoki! Go for the Yoki! But it doesn't stop. She went for the Yoki! After the sweep, Tosaka stands up with her back turned to Castor. Uses the turning momentum to jab Castor with an elbow. Tosaka stops her and throws a straight punch at Castor, putting her weight into it. Going for that wall bounce! Castor's body is blown away. Taking Tosaka's straight punch directly, Castor is slammed into the wall like me. Six more hits and go for the super! Leaning against the wall, Castor pants dizzily. There is distance between them. Tosaka kicks the ground to cover the few meters between them. The match is settled. Castor cannot move, and her wound seems fatal. The battle only lasted for a few seconds. The match is settled with a 5-second interval after I was smashed into the wall when confronting Kuzuki. Castor has no energy left to fight back. Tosaka closes in on Castor with saber-like speed and delivers the finishing blow. KO! Strengthening for just a few seconds using Magecraft. Tosaka intended to fight Castor close combat from the start. Castor only saw Tosaka as a mage. She acted like she was at a disadvantage so that she could use that opening to achieve her one-time surprise attack. And the plan worked. Castor was deceived by Tosaka and completely lost. So what's it gonna take to get an FGO fighting game? Tosaka has won this battle. Yes.
いや、そこまでだ、遠坂。
If not for this man's monstrous athleticism. If Tosaka running to Castor was like a hurricane, then his speed was like a storm caused by the devil. Tosaka stops. In front of Castor, leaning against the wall, is Soichiro Kuzuki, who was just in front of me until now. Shirou, you had one job! Tosaka moves. The instant Tosaka feels death and immediately shields her face while jumping back. Kuzuki's right fist that blew me away strikes Tosaka's face. Tosaka guards her face with both hands and jumped back, but she's sent flying. Tosaka smashed into the wall opposite from me and with her arms dangling down as if they're broken.
勝機を逃したな。4度打ち込んで殺せなかったお前の未熟だ。
You popped X Factor, didn't you? You cheat! He says calmly. But that's not Tosaka's fault. The reason she lost her chance is because of me. If I had stopped Kuzuki, Tosaka would have defeated Castor. This is my responsibility. Our once-in-a-lifetime opportunity was lost because of my inexperience and Soichiro Kuzuki's superior hand-to-hand combat skills. Castor regained her consciousness. With Kuzuki by her side, she extends her awareness to the entire church. It was all for naught. Ambushes won't work on Castor anymore. Tosaka barely has any strength left, and I only have 2 swords left. This is bad. If they use her to attack us in this state, we won't be able to see the light of day ever again.
感謝しますわマスター。あなたがいなければあのまま倒されていました。
世辞はいい。今はセーバーを起こせ。甘く見ていい相手ではなさそうだ。
ええ、的確な判断ですわ、マスター。
Castor raises her hand and points at her on the altar. She is visibly bound by magical curses. Just as Castor is about to set her free.
ああ。それがあと数秒ほど早ければな。
The sound came from above. I can hear the whisper coming from the stairs above me. Castor was the first one that noticed something was wrong. Kuzuki can't tell. Why? Because Kuzuki can't detect traces of magical energy. Castor is on the move. Countless amounts of swords can be seen, floating above Castor's master. Above Soichiro Kuzuki.
Soichiro!
Who brought back the organ music? Perhaps Castor understood that she wouldn't be able to block the attack. She now stands in front of her master, trying to shield him from the assault. Hey, that sounds familiar. I was certain that the voice above me uttered such words. The room is now silent. The floating swords turn their gaze upon a single target on the floor and rain down upon them, piercing them. The swords vanish after they cut through flesh and bone, leaving behind only traces of crimson. She chose to be a shield. Dragging her bloody body, the woman looks back to the man she tried to protect. Kuzuki says nothing, while the servant stands in front of him with countless piercing wounds. Maybe she feels she doesn't have to hide it anymore. Taking down her hood, the woman shows her real face and slowly approaches her master. Her body is crumbling. At the brink of her death, the woman looks upon her emotionless master. She gently caresses the man's face with her hand.
無事ですか、マスター。
Her breath getting shallower with each fading second. Kuzuki shows no changes. He simply utters a short confirmation as he does not even bother to turn his gaze on
よ
Catherine.
かった。あなたに死なれては困ります。
This is fine. Wait. The woman lets out a smile, realizing that perhaps she's content because of this man.
でも残念です。やっと望みが見つかったのに。
The woman's hand drops down from the man's face. Castor's body starts to disintegrate from her feet.
悲嘆することはない。お前の望みは私が代わりに果たすだけだ。
This simple and straight answer makes her smile. She smiles and looks at him like she's staring into a fading dream.
それはダメでしょうね。だって私の望みはさっきまで叶っていたんですから。
The great witch fades as she falls to her eternal slumber. Her purple robe falls to the ground. Without its owner, the robe also follows its master and fades into the wind. Not spending a moment looking at Castor, Kuzuki has turned his attention to that guy. To the guy probably standing above me, to the knight wearing a red cloak. My head hurts. It's not from the burden of projecting too many weapons. It's that chant. The chant that came out of that guy's mouth is attacking my brain with a constant feeling of nausea. Trace on. I'm certain that's what he said. I keep telling myself it's not possible for him to whisper those words, but without a doubt he uttered those exact words. Archer walks down into the church. Tosaka stares at Archer and is probably still doubting her own eyes.
あーちゃ、もしかしたらって思ってたけど、そういうこと？
Archer's not saying a word. He focuses his sight solely on his enemy, Kuzuki.
獅子心中の虫か。初めからこれを狙っていたな、アーチャー。
ああ。だがどちらかといえばトロイの木馬だろう。倒すべきがギリシャの英傑であったのだからな。例え話としてはそちらの方がふさわしい。
But she didn't fight in the Trojan War. Archer betrayed Castor right in front of her master, yet he shows no trace of regret facing the same man.
そうか。お前のような男を引き込んだキャスターの落ち度だったな。
Even with the traitor standing in front of him, Kuzuki shows no changes in his tone. He still has fight left in him. He's not a mage, and he's lost Castor, but Kuzuki still has the will to keep his fight going. He resumes his combat stance. Without Castor, Kuzuki's combat ability should have decreased drastically. Even if he's still the same dangerous fighter, Castor's boon that turned his fist into steel should have been gone by now. Despite that, Kuzuki still decides to face Archer.
そうか。続けるというのなら止めはしない。
Archer takes up his swords. There's an unseen spark between them. The battle is set to begin. What? Is that really for the best? Kuzuki said he's not interested in the Holy Grail. He was simply here to accompany Castor, truly a master in name only. If that's the case, there shouldn't be any more reasons for Kuzuki to keep fighting now that Castor's gone. Wait, why are you doing this, Kuzuki? You were just following what Castor told you to do, right? Castor's not here anymore. You shouldn't have any more reasons to fight. My head hurts so much that my consciousness is fading, but I'm fixing my... Sorry about that. My head hurts so much that my consciousness is fading, but I'm fixing my sights on the both of them. Kuzuki closes his eyes but for but a brief moment and answers.
そうだ。戦う理由などない。お前と同じく、私は聖杯などに興味はなかったからな。
Then
だが、これは私が始めたことだ。それを途中でやめることなどできない。
it's simple. His answer is plain and simple. The fight begins. This battle between them will probably end in a single encounter. Even if Kuzuki possesses martial arts and skills beyond that of a simple human, his opponent is a servant. Simply being better than normal humans is not enough. This fight is just an excuse to tighten up a loose end. This is the fate of the loser. A fight between the two masters is always going to be killed or be killed, so what's going to happen to Kuzuki is to be expected. If one is going to have a problem with this, then don't ever step into this war. Even so, while doing the sensible thing gave me a bad end last time, so trying to do the heroic thing, and doing the heroic thing before was the correct path. So I guess we keep that train going. If I can stop them, why shouldn't I try? If there's a way for him to be saved, if there's a way to resolve this without killing, is it so wrong to wish for it? I don't mind being called naive, and I know I'm a hypocrite. To a master, defeating your opponent means killing them. They're all aware of this fact before getting themselves involved this far. They chose to fight knowing they will have to kill or be killed trying. I know how much of a coward I am for wanting to step in and stop them from fighting. And yet, if I had already decided to fight for someone, to help someone, then I can't afford to lose a life when that life can be spared. Stop! The fight is over! You don't have to fight anymore! I try to stop them while enduring my headache. In that moment, Kuzuki makes his move. What? Maybe my move gave him an opening. Kuzuki shortens the distance between him and Archer in an instant and strikes right between his eyes. A strike that would have shattered anyone's skull, yet Archer decided not to dodge the deadly attack. A sound can be heard as the attack makes contact with Archer's head. The Red Knight chose to withstand Kuzuki's strike and used the opportunity to pierce through Kuzuki's chest. There's only silence. No one could utter a sound. Even I'm at a loss for words. Soichiro Kuzuki is dead. He died on the path he chose, like a ghost who left behind no words of longing or feelings of regret or hope. My head hurts. I'm not sure if it's because my stress magic circuit is pressing against my nerves, or because I can't forgive Archer for killing Kuzuki without even batting an eye, or because I'm mad at myself for being utterly powerless to oppose. Without knowing the cause, the sharp pain in my head gets even sharper. I turn my head towards the sound. With Castor gone, the binding curses should be undone. In front of the altar at the back of the church, Saber hits the floor. Still lying on the floor, Saber's breathing is labored and in pain. Seeing her like that makes me forget about my headache. Saber! I rush towards her. I'm annoyed that even a few meters between me and her feels so far away.
Shiro.
Saber looks up. Seeing me running towards her, Saber lets out a sigh of relief. Huh? She suddenly tackles me and sends me flying. A sudden blow from the side, I was knocked down without resisting. My body is sent flying and bounced hard against the floor. My back lands first on the floor. Ugh. I'm still confused by what just happened, but just as I look up, in that moment, I hear the sound of metal clashing again. What? What I see is Saber armoring up, and right in front of her, on the ground where I had stood, there are multiple swords piercing the floor.
外したか
It's him. He lets out a sound of disappointment as he keeps his sight on Saber. Not even able to stand upright, Saber glares at Archer. The jerk! I don't have to guess the reason. He fired his sword and tried to kill me from behind my back. Saber noticed what he was trying to do and instantly covered for me. Tosaka stands there looking at him dumbfounded while Saber wields her sword as she's gasping for breath. Even if their positions are different, they harbor the same question. Now that Castor is defeated, why is Archer trying to kill Shirou Emiya? Only Archer and I stood unfazed by the interaction. That's right. I'm not surprised at what just happened. We've despised each other from the very beginning. We've stood against each other knowing we will never get along. We both reject each other's existence, not even knowing why. Why? The reason behind why we must reject each other. If it's really what I think it is, of course he would want to kill me. Ugh. I tried to stand up after being knocked to the floor. Saber was pretty desperate. She probably charged into me without being able to hold back. Because of that, she could barely catch her breath. That's why I must stand up. If the Saber I knew were to tackle me, it wouldn't be this weak. Right now, she's barely had enough strength to even face me. If she's to go up against Archer in that body of hers, it would be no different than suicide.
Hacha, 何のつもり?
Tosaka approaches Archer. Of course she's confused. Archer only sided with Castor so he could betray her at the end and kill her. Now that he's succeeded, there's no reason for Archer to attack me.
芝居はもう終わりでしょ。キャスターは倒したんだから、もう勝手な真似は許さないわよ。
許さないわからないな。なぜ私が許されなければならないのだ。私のマスター。
はーちゃん。
お前との契約は切れている。自由になった私が自ら進んで人間の手下になると思うのか。
Tosaka looks upon Archer like she still can't believe what she just heard, but then a sudden realization hits her.
まさか、あーちゃん。
私は私の目的のためだけに行動する。だがそこにお前がいてはいささか面倒だ。
Tosaka jumps back. She distances herself from Archer and stands running toward me while I'm still trying to stand up. But Tosaka was not able to do that. A storm of swords 2 meters tall is raining down. The swords come down in a circular pattern, stabbing the floor to create a cage. A circular cage with barely enough space for a single human. The instant the cage is formed, Tosaka is trapped in the middle of it.
ここまで来て邪魔はさせん。契約が切れた今、お前にかけられた0時の縛りも存在しない。キャスターについた理由はそれだけだ。あの0時を無効にするためには契約を破棄せねばならなかったからな。
Archer stands walking, turning his back on Tosca, who's now trapped in a cage of swords. He's not walking towards Saber, but towards me while I still have my knee on the floor.
やっぱりなんでよアーチャーあんたまだシロを殺すつもりなの？
そう、自らの手でエミやシロを殺す。それだけが守護者となり果てた俺のただ一つの願望。
何？
Strength is returning to Saber's body. She collects her thoughts, focuses her strength, and shifts herself between Archer and myself.
アーチャーあなたはまさか。
そうだ、いつか言っていたな、セイバー。俺には英雄としての誇りがないのかと。無論だ、そんなものがあるはずがない。この身を埋めているのは後悔だけだよ。俺はね、セイバー、英雄になどならなければよかったんだ。
Saber's will to fight is leaving her body. Maybe she has suddenly understood something. Whatever it may be, she no longer has any animosity towards Archer.
そういうことだ。聞いているがいい、騎士を。マスターがいない身で無茶をすればすぐに消えるぞ。もはやエミやシローにはマスターの資格がない。肩入れしたところで君の望みには届かない。
それはできない。マスターで亡くなったとしても契約は消えない。彼を守り剣になると誓った。聖杯戦争など知らなかった彼はそれでも私の一方的な誓いに応えてくれた。その信頼を裏切ることなどできない。
She holds up her invisible sword, but the brave and gallant knight is nowhere to be seen.
そうか。ならば偽りの主ともどもここで消えろ。
Swords appear in Archer's hands. What? Saber can't even withstand Archer attack as she is right now. You idiot, Saber, run! I stand up and try to reach out for Saber. Maybe she's trying to stay away from my reach. Saber focuses all her strength to her feet and rushes toward Archer. The fight is over after a few rounds of trading blows. The old Saber would have undoubtedly overpowered Archer, but now she can barely swing her sword for seconds before she's down on her knees. Saber doesn't even have a sword in her hand anymore. In an effort to resist Castor's curse, she used up all of her magical energy. For Saber now, even taking in the air is an effort. She's facing down, all fours on the floor, and trying her hardest just to maintain her existence. Archer raises his arms. He swings his sword down upon the defenseless Saber. I rush in. And muster up all my strength to block Archer's attack. I hold up my two swords. With the weapons I instantly projected in my hand, I fix my sight on the Red Knight.
ほう。あとしばらくはおとなしくしていると思ったがな。さすがに目の前で女が殺されるのは耐えられないか。
Shut up! The person you really wanted to kill is me. Then point your swords at the right person. The two of us continue to face off with each other. We both hold twin swords in our hands. Even though our stature may differ, our stance is absolutely identical.
人間もそこまで行けば本物だ。だが、お前の体はその魔術講師に耐えられるかな。
A clear mockery. But like you said, I'm at my limit. My headache won't stop, and my accelerated magic circuits are at their limit because of my repeated projection. In my current state, if I continue to trade blows with him while maintaining the swords, my brain will explode before he cuts me down.
前に忠告したな。 お前に投影は扱えないと。分不相応の魔術は身を滅ぼす。お前をここまで生かしてきた奇跡の代償、ここで支払うことになったな、エミヤシロ。
Archer is charging toward me. Shut up, you piece of... At that moment, I meet Archer's swords with my own, with such intensity as if it will make me forget all about my headache. Ugh. I swing my weapons. My movement is simply a mimicry of my opponent's. If my swords are borrowed, so is the skill to wield them. That's why there's no way I can match him. Even if I'm at my peak condition, I'm not able to defeat him. A fake can come close to the real thing, but it will never surpass it. That's why I didn't have a chance to stand up to this man from the beginning. He told me to drown holding on to my ideals. He also told me my life was a lie. I couldn't say anything to him because he was my ideal. The power to realize the impossible. A man who became a heroic spirit after saving so many others. I am the one who wished to become like that. That's why I can't win. The man standing in front of me is the one who has reached the end of my ideal. If this man is truly the same person who wanted to become stronger to save others, the embodiment of Shirou and Rin's ideals... The sword shattered. While I was able to block his attack, I lost my swords in the process. My consciousness is fading. My body is uninjured, but what's inside of my body is bleeding, slowly withering away.
納得がいったか。それがエミヤシロの限界だ。無理を積み重ねてきたお前にはふさわしい幕切れだろう。
He raises his sword. Just when I try to discern which side the sword is going to cut down with my fading consciousness.
告げる。汝の身は我が元に、我が命運は汝の剣に。聖杯のよるべに従い、この断りに従うのなら。
Tosaka's dignified voice echoes in the church. Maybe he was distracted by that. The sword strike loses its momentum if that's the case. Even in my current body, I can dodge that attack. I rolled away on this floor to create some distance. Archer clutches his tongue. He doesn't go after me. He looks at Saber on the floor.
我に従え。ならばこの命運、汝が剣に預けよう。
That's a good one. Tosaka's reaching her hand out to Saber from her cage of swords. Responding to her call, Saber rushes to Tosaka with all her strength.
セイバーの名にかけ誓いを受ける。あなたを我が主として認めよう、リン。
This is the contract that should have happened. Saber is finally able to get the master she deserves. Winds gather in a whirl around Saber. Perhaps it's because she's gotten her real power back now that she has a proper master. The Saber-faced Archer now is not the same person as before. What is this? I'm not the only one stunned by this sight. Even Archer is enchanted by what's happening. A surge of magical energy and a set of armor that's impervious to damage. An enormous magical energy, which is enough to overwhelm anything that's truly infinite. That is Saber. The heroic spirit of the sword that is said to be the most powerful of servants.
もとよりリンと再契約させるつもりだったが、いささか手順が違ってきたか。
Maybe he can't spare any effort on me anymore, but Archer is only focusing on Saber.
それでどうするセイバー。リンと契約した以上、君は本当にエミヤシロとは無関係になったわけだ。
言ったはずです、アーチャー。 シローとの誓いはなくならないと。
Saber says with determination. Irritated by her words, Archer grips his swords.
あなたこそどうするのです、アーチャー。あなたがシローを手にかけるというのなら、私は全力でそれを阻む。考え直すのなら今のうちです。今の私を相手にして勝機があるとは思わないでしょう。
Saber's words are true. Saber in her condition now can go against Berserker one-on-one and still walk away victorious. It doesn't matter who Archer is. He can't win against Saber. He understands that better than anyone, and yet...
たかだか魔力が戻った程度。よくもそこまで強気になる。
Not letting her respond, Archer charges at Saber. Swords flash. A bolt of crimson rushes towards Saber, and Archer swings with all of his might. Saber blocks that attack without even flinching. Their difference in stature and even Archer's sudden burst of speed make no difference. Saber parries Archer's attack with ease, yet Archer is the one who falls back despite being on the offense. A single strike with utmost power and precision. Not only was it blocked, he even lost his balance in the process. Archer falls back without hesitation. Seeing an opening, Saber attacks Archer with a fierce onslaught. There's nothing Archer can do other than block Saber's attack. If he tries to counter, Saber's sword will split his skull in that opening. No, he doesn't even have the spare effort to think about countering. The only resistance allowed for Archer is blocking Saber's attack until he runs out of strength. Even then, that won't last long. The magical energy embedded in Saber's sword is chipping away at Kanji's sockets. The twin swords can't stand any more of Saber's attacks, nor does Archer have much strength left. The end came sooner than expected. Not able to withstand Saber's bolt and Saber's assault, Archer falls down on his knee. Saber stops for a short moment, then swings down her sword. That decisive strike, Archer stopped it with the cross formed by his swords. The fight ends there. While Archer did not stop Saber's attack, he can't move another inch. If he lets go even an ounce of his strength, Saber's sword will cut him in half from the skull down. Pouring all his strength into his arms, Archer stops Saber's strike. Sweat is dripping down Archer's forehead, and he's gasping for breath. In contrast, Saber is calm and collected. In close-range combat, it's impossible for an Archer-class servant to win against a Saber-class servant.
ここまでです、アーチャー。先ほど私の身を案じていましたが、それはあなたにも言えることだ。キャスターを倒すためにあれだけの宝具を使った今、魔力加えてこの世にとどまるためのマスターもいない。魔力の供給もままならない今のあなたに何ができる？
それこそ余計な世話だ、セイバー。アーチャーのサーバントにはマスターがおらずとも単独で存在する能力がある。マスターを失ったとしても2日は存命できよう。それだけあればあの小僧を仕留めるには十分だ。
バカな、まだそんなことを言うのですか？あなたの望みは聖杯ではなくシロを殺すことだとでも。
Archer didn't respond. His cold eyes simply stare at the baffled and troubled Saber.
なんということを。アーチャー、あなたの望みは間違っている。なぜそのような結末を望むのですか？そんなことをしてもあなたは。
Saber bites down on her lips before she can finish her sentence.
間違えているか。
Archer puts more strength into his arms. He stares back at
それ
Saber.
はこちらのセリフだ、セイバー。君こそいつまで間違った望みを抱いている。
A brief moment of sadness flickers in Archer's eyes as he asks Saber.
アーチャー、
Saber's grip on her sword weakens. Archer seizes the opportunity to free himself and uses the opening to kick Saber off. Saber was sent backward from that kick, but she lands with grace. Good, because just about everybody else, because just about everybody else in the spine of everyone else in this room is seriously worked. The situation doesn't change from a minute ago. A stalemate between Saber, who is protecting me, and Archer, who has his back turned to the caged Tosaka. The distance between the two has extended to about 5 meters.
分かりきっていたことだが、やはり剣技では及ばぬか。
The swords in his hand disappear, and he faces Saber empty-handed.
アーチャー、剣を捨てたということは、戦いを収める気に。
まさか。君こそ思い違いはよせ。俺はアーチャーだぞ。もとより、剣で戦うものではない。
I do know a grand archer that prefers to fight with his fists, and believe you me, they were some big fists. After saying that,
I'm the bone of my soul.
In a whisper, Archer starts with the incantation.
やめろ、アーチャー。私は、あなたとは。
セイバー、いつか、お前を解き放つ者が現れる。それは今回ではないようだが、おそらくは次も、お前と関わるのは、私なのだろうよ。
Or, you know, it could have been an earlier
Unknown
time.
to death, unknown to life.
I think a few lines were skipped. But then again, I think it's the same way in the anime as well. The incantation echoes in the church. Nothing changes in the surrounding. An incantation that long will most certainly affect the environment. Magecraft is something that works by exerting influence on the world itself. However, his incantation doesn't do it, but...
だが、それはあくまで次の話。今の俺の目的は、エミやシロを殺すことだけだ。それを阻むのならば、この世界は、お前が相手でも容赦はせん。
He raises his left arm. Does that mean he's completing his incantation?
Unlimited blade works.
With a clear phrase, he starts to exert his influence on the world. Flames erupting. The flames trace across the floor as if drawing a line. Does that mean the flames are creating a boundary around the church? The bright luminescence generated by the flame envelops the church. In an instant, the church was replaced by a strange landscape. My headache is overpowering my thoughts. I can understand this magecraft, this bizarre scenery. It shouldn't be possible for me to understand, but I was able to decipher what's happening in front of my eyes naturally. And that fact is hurting my head more than anything. To sum it up in one word, this is a forge. Burning flames and rotating gears in the sky. Swords with no wielders are scattered across this wasteland. Every blade across this landscape is a famed sword. Even the Kancho and Bakuya he uses were weaved from this world. A seemingly infinite projection of weapons. The countless weapons makes this place look like a junkyard. And standing in the middle of this wasted kingdom is the Red Knight.
これ、あ。
There's obvious confusion in Saber's voice. Standing in the cold phantom flame, she looks at the Red Knight, bewildered.
固有結界。心象世界を具現化して現実を侵食する大禁獣。つまり あんたは剣士でもなければ弓兵でもなくて、
そう、生前英霊となる前は魔術師だったということだ。
Tusk speaks calmly. Does that mean she already knew? Maybe she has already discerned Archer's identity?
ではアーチャー、あなたの宝具は？
そんなものはない。私は聖剣も魔剣も持ってなどいなかったからな。俺が用いるのはこの世界だけだ。宝具が英霊のシンボルだというのなら、この魔術こそが俺の宝具。武器であるのならばオリジナルを見るだけで複製し貯蔵する。それが俺の英霊としての能力だ。
Saber can't believe what she's heard. She looks around, bewildered, seeing only swords in this wasteland. Swords that feel no different than unmarked gravestones. This place is filled with wasteland and iron, covered by a lonely gray sky.
これがあなたの世界だというのか、アーチャー。
そうだ。試してみても構わんぞ、セイバー。お前の聖剣、確実に複製してみせよう。
私の聖剣、その正体を知って言うのか、アーチャー。
もちろんあれほどのものになると完全な複製はできぬが、真に迫ることはできる。となればどうなる？聖剣同士が衝突した時、周りの人間は生きていられるかな？
アーチャー、あなたは。
そういうことだ。間違っても聖剣を使うな、セイバー。使えば俺も抵抗せざるを得ない。その場合消えるのは我々ではなく周りの人間だ。お前のことだ。自身を犠牲にしてもそこの小僧を守るだろう。俺とて聖剣など投影しては自滅する。となれば生き残るのは一人だけ。それではあまりにも意味がない。
What about Rin? Archer raises his left arm. At the signal, swords start to levitate behind him.
抵抗はするな。運が良ければ即死することもない。ことが済んだ後、お前のマスターに癒してもらえ。
Archer's finger points at Saber. Countless swords turn and point at Saber. Every single one of those swords is capable of delivering a killing
か
blow.
わすのもいいが、その場合背後の男は諦めろ。
He gives his command to the swords. The infinite amount of swords start their assault. Saber can't afford to move a single inch from her spot. Knowing a single mishap could be fatal, Saber grips her sword in her hand and strikes down each and every sword that rains down. Trace on! My headache is starting to take away my ability to think. My magic circuits will only last for one more try. My devastated insides are scorched beyond recognition and on the verge of melting. But all of that stopped mattering from the moment I saw his world. Next thing I know, I'm focusing my strength and running up next to Saber, fixing my eyes on those annoying swords.
シロ、ダメだ、早く。
Who cares? If my eyes can't keep up with the flurry of swords, then what I need to do now is let my senses take over and analyze them. Even if my head can't process any faster, I'm still pushing it beyond its limit. The next wave of swords is coming. It feels as if the hammer of a gun knocks down the back of my head. Don't. I reach out my left arm. I don't have a shred of doubt. I copied so many up until now. If the logic and the method behind what I did was correct, give me that bullcrap, you! and there's no way I can't afford to copy the flurry of swords before me. Fragments shatter around us. When I open my eyes, his reality marble, or whatever it's called, is gone. What remains are the scattered fragments of swords and... a nightmarish feeling of nausea that makes me gag as if I'm about to throw up my own organs. He stares at me with animosity. Archer grabbed Tosaka out of her cage of swords and restrained her. Tosaka violently moves her body, trying to get away from Archer's grasp. I don't know what he's done, but Archer puts his hand on the back of Tosaka's neck, and her consciousness is gone. After that, he decides to leave the church. He holds Tosaka in his arms as he leaps up the stairs that lead to the ground above.
どこに行く気です、アーチャー。
これ以上邪魔の入らないところだ。俺は今ので魔力切れだしな。お前に守られた小僧を仕留めるだけの力はない。
リンを連れて行くのは人質ですか？
いや、交換条件だ。これが俺の手元にある限り、そこの小僧は俺を追わざるを得まい。加えて、リンはお前のマスターになった。いかにお前が小僧を守ろうと、マスターの命には変えられない。
I'm trying to fight this nausea, trying hard to hold on so I don't pass out. Trying hard to hold on so I don't pass out, I respond to his nonsense. Outside of town. And then, exhausted, I tell him without even looking at him.
No.
I just told you. Head to the forest outside of the town. There's an abandoned castle, and if it's there, we won't bother anyone.
シロ、
You have something you want to say to me, right? Fine, let's hear it. There are things I want to say to you too. Fading in and out of my consciousness. Despite the nauseating sickness, I told him as much.
郊外の森。そうか。アインツベルンの城があったな。確かに、あの城ならば邪魔は入らない。いい覚悟じゃないか、エミヤシロ。
Shut up! That's not important. I don't want to hear his flattery. If I have to listen to any more of it, my innards might burst out of my body from the unbearable pain. I dare you to try to lay a finger on Tosaka. If you do, I'll kill you, even if I have to ask Saber for help. A sharp pain attacks me. I warn him in rage and claw at my head to fight my headache.
よかろう。場所を指定した見返りだ。一日は安全を保証してやる。だが急げよ。マスターがいない今、俺とて時間がない。この身は2日と持たぬだろう。その前にお前を殺せないとあらば、腹いせに人質を手にかけかねんからな。
His annoying laughter lingers in my ear as he leaves. I fell down on my knees before I could see him leave.
シロ、無茶をして、いくらあなたでもアーチャーと同じ投影をするのは早すぎます。
She holds me as I fall down. I'm sorry, Saber. I let him take Tosaka. If I try to stand up while holding my head, or I try to stand up while holding my head.
それはいいのです。リンは無事だ。アーチャーもリンには手を出さないでしょう。それより、今はあなたの方が危ない。リンのことは私に任せて、シロは家で休息を取るべきです。
No, we don't have time. I feel like passing out as I try to finish that sentence. Dang it. I can't believe this. It seems I don't even have the strength left to form words.
話は後で聞きます。今はあなたを家に連れて帰る。 いいですね、シロ。
I mean, kinda, but I can't resist. But wait, what are you? I don't even have the time to say anything back. Saber lends me her shoulder as we're walking toward the stairs. The sky is still gray. We leave the now deserted church.
お、ことは済んだみたいだな、坊主。
There, in the clearing in front of us, is the familiar spearman. Saber glares at him while supporting me. She so tense that she would slash him without hesitation if he took another step. No, you're mistaken, Saber. He helped us.
は、ランサーがシロに協力したというのですか？
Yeah, that's right. If you can, don't fight him, please. Saber stares at Lancer in astonishment. It seems like he's fully enjoying Saber's reaction.
それはわかりましたが、なぜですランサー？あなたがシロたちに協力するなど何か企みがあるのですか？
あ？なんだ？バカだろお前。んなもんあるに決まってんじゃねえか。裏で企んでなきゃよその手助けなんかするか。
Oh, sorry.
それはわかりましたが。
あ？なんだ？バカだろお前。んなもんあるに決まってんじゃねえか。裏で企んでなきゃよその手助けなんかするか。
I knew he was that kind of guy, but he's thorough that as he's making fun of Saber as well.
何がおかしいのです、シロ。
あ？なんだ？
は、ランサーがシロに協力したというのですか？それはわかりましたが。
あ？なんだ？バカだろお前。んなもんあるに決まってんじゃねえか。
Okay.
何がおかしいのです、シロ。
Huh? Was I laughing?
ええ、笑っていました。どうやら私の思い違いだったようですね。笑みがこぼれるほど元気があるのなら、この肩を貸すまでもなかったようですが。
It's bad, but that made me feel a bit relieved. Saber's the same as before. Our connection is gone, but she's still here just like before. But she's here just like before. Then what's there to regret? My bad. I guess I let my guard down. Now's not the time, huh?
はい。リンを取り戻すにしても、今は休まなければ。ランサー、何が目的かは知らぬが、もはや用は済んだのだろう。ならばされ。私も、今はあなたとは戦わない。
She declares in a dignified manner and goes down to the clearing.
あ？おい。万事守備よく行ったってわけじゃなさそうだな。何が起きたんだ、オズ。
Archer took Tosaka away. We're just going to get her back. I bear my dizziness and answer looking into Lancer's eyes.
何？おい待て。それはどういうことだ？
I'm sorry, but I don't have any energy left. I can't give such a long explanation, so I should go home and...
アーチャーの目的はシロを殺すことです。そのために私のマスターとなったリンをさらい、交換条件としてシロに一騎打ちを命じました。一日中にアーチャーの元に行かなければ、リンの安全は保証しないそうです。
Well, it was helpful of you to explain on my behalf, but there's no point in telling Lancer that, Saber.
やろう。やりやがったな。
Then he takes off his friendly face and grits his teeth.
ランサー、
つまりあれか。あの野郎、一度ならず二度までお嬢ちゃんを裏切ったってわけか。
ええ、そういうことになりますが、それがどうしたと？
どうしたじゃねえ。くそ、気が変わった。 手助けするのはこれっきりだったがな。もう少し付き合わせろ。このままじゃ寝覚めが悪い。
Lancer spits out and starts walking. Saber stares at Lancer silently. I understand how she feels. Lancer's back looked as if he was telling us that he'll join us.
参った。シローとリンはどんな魔術を使って彼を味方に引き入れたのです。
Saber's voice sounds more shocked than amazed. But unfortunately, I don't have the energy to answer, and my wounds are starting to hurt again. No, first of all, I'm the one who wants to ask that question. Interlude 14.3 Unlimited Blade Works. And I recall his dream. The memory of the man who was set up as a hero. The story of a knight whose end came to a place that I can't reach. That hill is his world. The desolate wasteland that the man obtained by fighting for others. Apparently he died smiling in satisfaction, holding on to this view.
バカじゃないの、本気で。
Yes, that just makes me seriously mad. He tried his best, worked hard even though he was an ordinary person, and finally obtained a miracle with his own blood. Then it'll be a lie if he doesn't become happy. If he made many people happy, then he had to become happier than all those people combined. But he did not receive such a reward. The only thing he was given was the fate to be used as a guardian after his death. That's right. Why didn't I realize that then? Why didn't I realize that? Guardians are summoned to every age. Doesn't that mean that they are summoned from every age? In other words, from the present and the past. And heroic spirits can even be summoned from the future we have not yet seen. For guardians who are pushed into a position off the axis of time, the concept of time does not exist. At the point that they became a heroic spirit, they sublimate into something other than what they used to be when they were human. Then, it is possible for a guardian to be summoned into the place and age they lived in when they were alive. It's vexing when I think about it. It's because neither of them gets salvation. The one that watches his past self, or the one that watches his eventual self, they will only hurt by how they changed. I already know the end of this big idiot who tried to be of help to others. He became a guardian by choice. He thought that it was more than he could ask for if he could save people even after he died. He did not have the power to save people when he was alive, but he believed that he could break through any tragedy as a heroic spirit. Thinking so, he made a contract with the world to give his body after death and saved hundreds of lives. He believed he would be able to save tens of thousands of people and more after that. But he was betrayed by such hope. Places where heroic spirits and guardians appear are only nightmares. They only appear when the world is about to be destroyed by people. Humans are beings that perish by their own doings. That's why the process of destruction should always be the same. He was only summoned to those nightmares. In the land where the one he wanted to save were already dead, he killed even more people. The boy who said he just didn't want to see anyone cry could only see humans crying forever. There's only one thing I can say. He has been betrayed by many things the whole time. And in the very end, he was even betrayed by the only thing he believed in, his ideal. I am the bone of my sword. Steel is my body and fire is my blood. I have created over 1,000 blades, unknown to death, nor known to life. Have withstood pain to create many weapons. Yet those hands will never hold anything. So as I pray, Unlimited Blade Works. That was the only spell he was given. What is that? It makes me so mad that I want to beat his chest and scold him. I, Rin Tosuka, have never had any hardships in my life. So I might not have the right to say it, but I believe in working hard and going through pain. It's wrong not to be rewarded for your battles. That's why I'm angry at his unrewarded life, and most of all, I can't leave him, who ended up cursing his life be. As long as you're my servant, I won't do anything other than what I believe in. I'm not as naive as Shirou Emiya, but there are still things I cannot give up. No matter who it is, I don't have the intention of giving up. That's right. That's why I swore that as long as I'm his master, I will believe in my path like he used to do. That's all I can show to him. That's about the only way I can repay him. That might have been meaningless, but at least I do it so that Archer, who lost sight of his own past, could realize that his life was something he could be proud of. The first thing I notice when I wake up from my slumber are the sensations in my limbs. They hurt, and I can't move them.
縛られてる。
Plus, I'm sitting in a chair and seem to be sleeping in an unnatural position. I don't want to admit it, but I'm in the worst possible situation. Honey, you have no idea how much worse it could get. To be honest, I can't do anything. My hands are behind the chair and restrained by something like handcuffs. My ankles are the same, and I can't stand from my chair. On top of that, my handcuffs and shackles are magecraft resistant, and my magic circuit is so messed up that I can't even create magical energy. Now that I've confirmed my situation, I check my surroundings. It's cold. The room made of stone has no heater, and it is an abandoned place that hasn't been used for a while. It's dark outside the windows. From the looks of it, it's probably past 10 p.m. or so.
で、どういうつもりよ、あーちゃん。
I glare into the darkness. The shadow of the pillar. The knight in red sitting on a pile of rubble.
どうもこうもない。お前はエミやシロを釣る餌だ。それは
私がいなくたってシロなら勝手に来るわよ。そんなこと。
そうだな。だがそこにお前がいては都合が悪い。ことが済むまで目障りな邪魔者にはここでおとなしくしていてもらう。
Archer states without appearing in front of me. There's no sign of previous intimacy. He's really a calm assassin now.
そう。どうあってもシロを殺すっていうのね、あなた。
ああ。あのような甘い男は今のうちに消えた方がいい。
He replies as if it's only natural. The only thing I can see from here is his shadowed side profile. His expression is cold, as if he's wearing a mask. That makes me seriously infuriated.
シロが甘いってことは言われなくても分かってるけど。
I take a breath. It'll end if I say this. Archer will never come back to me if I say that. I take a breath and stare at the man in the shadows.
それでも私はあいつの甘いところが愛しいって思う。あいつはああでなくちゃいけないって、ああいうやつがいてもいいんだって救われてる。けどあんたはどうなの？そこまでやっておいて身勝手な理想論を振りかざすのは間違ってるって思ったわけ？何度も何度も他人のために戦って、何度も何度も裏切られて、何度も何度もつまらない後始末をさせられて、それで人間ってものに愛想が尽きたっていうの？あっちゃん。
I get even more angry as I speak, and I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. Archer doesn't answer. His side profile consumed in the shadows is no longer the side profile that I know. Interlude out.
すべての人間を救うことはできない。
heard that from the man I believe could save everyone. All I felt was
いい
repulsion.
かいシロ、正義の味方に救えるのは味方をした人間だけだ。
I didn't like those words either. I didn't want the person who I thought was the hero of justice himself to say such realistic things. Since that time, my life has just been trying to overturn those words. There's no need for sacrifices. Nobody will be hurt if you work hard and do your best. My old man must have always admired that as well. So,
ああ、安心した。
I can't look away from his final moment. Tosaka said that such a life is distorted. I know. I realized that a long time ago. There is no such world where nobody gets hurt. And there is no happiness where nobody gets hurt. Such a convenient utopia does not exist anywhere in the world. The hero of justice that I am trying to become is just hypocrisy.
人助けの果てには何もない。
So, I know that without having to be
他
told.
人も自分も救えない。偽りのような人生だ。
Yeah. Even if that's true, I won't let you say it. I don't care if anyone other than himself denies it. But I won't let him say it. The same things. We have the same beginnings, and even if I were to turn out like that, no, that's why I have to deny him. So that he doesn't approve of the former Shirou Emiya. As long as I'm here, I won't approve of him. Even if this dream is distorted. If I believed in this and decide that I will keep on believing in it, then I wake up. I look at the clock right away and see that it's past 11 p.m.
目が覚めましたか、シロ。
Saber says in a calm voice, sitting on her knees. It's already been half a day since we came back from the church. She must have been watching over me the whole time I was unconscious. Yeah, I'm awake. My body is fine. My fatigue went away and my headache is gone. I get up from the bed. The sensations in my limbs are back to usual. The magic circuit that I overused is still exhausted, but it hasn't burned up.
行くのですか、シロ。
Saber suddenly asks. The answer's obvious, so I silently nod back.
わかりました。では私も同行します。ですがシロ、リンは私のマスターです。彼女を救い出すのは私の役目だ。アーチャーは私が止めますから、シロは。
No, it's the other way around, Saber. I'll fight Archer. I interrupt Saber. She looks at me uneasily.
それはダメだ、シロ。アーチャーはあなたの。
She hesitates, having a hard time saying it. I know. I think I knew who he was from the first time I met him. I was repulsed by him without reason from the first time we met. I stubbornly hated him, thinking that I could not approve of him. That is only natural. Any person would look away if they are shown their own mistakes. Yeah, but that's why I can't approve of what he did. I have to settle my match with him. I stand up. My body's in great condition. There's only half a day until time is up. I can't spend any more time resting.
シロ。
I'm not in the position to be able to say this, but please, Saber. I'll fight Archer. I don't want you to help me, no matter what happens. I bow as I ask Saber.
いいえ。そのようなことをする必要はありません、シロ。あなたがそう望むのなら、私はそれに従いましょう。この身はあなたの盾になると誓ったのです。その行く末を最後まで見届けます。
Her answer is perfect. Her dignified voice sweeps away the uneasiness lingering on my mind. Thanks. It's reassuring to know that you'll be watching over me.
はい。私もあなたがそうであってくれて嬉しい、シロ。
She smiles back. We prepared for We prepare for departure now. We leave my house. Who would have thought that we would go back to that castle again?
おい、お前ら、人の話聞いてねえだろ。
Huh?
は
We both turn around. Oh. Come to think of it, Lancer was still here. Oh, you have more free time than I thought. It just slips out. He seems to be aware of it himself, as he doesn't seem to deny it.
ランサー、あなたが何を企んでいるかは知りませんが、私たちに同行しても得るものはありません。アーチャーはすでにマスターを持たないサーバント。あなたのマスターが倒したがるとは思えませんが。
ああ、分かってる分かってる。別にアーチャーの野郎をどうこうしようって気はねえ。坊主と奴の殺し合いにも手は出さねえから安心しろ。
では何のためについてこようというのです。私との決着を望むのならここでつけても構いませんが。
いや、それも願い下げだな。俺は貴様のマスターと敵対する気はない。むしろ売りたいのは恩でね。ここらで貸しを作っておこうと、そういう腹だ。
Saber glares at Lancer, and Lancer aloofly ignores her stare. Fine, do as you wish. It would help us too if you will help to rescue Tosaka.
シロ、ランサーは敵です。そのような軽い決断は。
Don't worry about that. He's twisted, but he doesn't lie, and he can't do anything that sneaky. He'd defeat us head on before he wanted to trick us.
それはそうですが、しかし。
Well, I'll drive him away if you don't want to, but he'll follow us even if we let him be, just like a stray dog. In that case, it's easier to have him by our side so we can keep an eye on him, right?
たった数日で随分と口がうまくなったのですね、シロ。
Well, a lot happened. Anyway, that's it, Lancer. We won't concern ourselves with you, so don't bother us either. If you're fine with that, let's go. I call the Lancer, who is watching us with a smile.
十分だ。いや、いいコンビじゃねえか。セイバーは見ての通り融通が利かないからな。お前が大人になってくれて助かったぜ。
そのようなことはありません。融通が利かないのはむしろシローの方だ。私がどれほど苦労。
さあ。なんだ？聞けば話してくれるのか、セイバー。いいぜ。城までは随分とある。道中お前の苦労話を魚としよ
う。なぜ私がそのようなことを説明しなくてはならないのです。それこそあなたには無関係ではないですか。
Saber accuses Lancer. Wow! Saber and Lancer really don't get along. Yeah, they're fighting like cats and dogs. I think that Saber would yell like... I didn't think Saber would yell like Tosaka. Oh well. Let's get going. We don't have time to be playing around. We need to get to the castle as soon as possible. I leave the two behind and start walking.
シロー、私は遊んでいるわけではありません。
She must still be worked up as she yells as she catches up. Lancer keeps his distance from us and follows us aloofly. It's midnight. I know how long it takes to get to the castle from here. We should be able to make it in time. Well, we'll most likely get there by dawn. We head towards the masterless old castle in the forest and start walking in the night. All right, and we'll call it there for tonight. Hope you guys are enjoying this, and I'm not going to promise when the next time that I'm going to do this, because every time I do that, I seem to not keep it, but I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I'll see you next time. Have a good night. Stay safe. Stay warm.